I still remember the sound of the rain hitting the garage roof that night. Not because it was loud, because it was the only thing keeping me from hearing my own heart break. Take your blanket and sleep in the garage if you have a problem with my mother. My husband, Jason, stood in the kitchen with his arms crossed. His mother, Diane, sat at the dining table behind him, sipping tea with a smug smile on her face. For a moment, I thought I had misheard him. We had been married for 11 years. We had 2 children, a mortgage, a life. And yet there he was, looking directly at me, as if I were some unwanted guest. "Jason," I whispered, "you're not serious."
His jaw tightened.
"I am serious." The room went silent. Our daughter Emma stood frozen near the stairs. Our 10-year-old son Caleb stared at the floor. Neither child moved. Neither child spoke. Diane broke the silence first. "Honestly, Emily, you're being dramatic. It's only one night." One night. That was the phrase she always used. When she moved into our house, it was supposed to be for one night. That had happened 8 months earlier. 8 months of criticism. 8 months of insults disguised as advice. 8 months of Jason choosing her over me. I looked at my husband, waiting, praying, begging him with my eyes to realize how cruel he sounded. Instead, he pointed toward the garage door. "Either apologize to my mother or sleep out there." I felt something inside me crack. Not loudly, quietly, the way trust breaks, the way love dies. I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I simply picked at my blanket and walked away. The garage smelled like old paint and motor oil. A single light bulb hung from the ceiling. Rainwater dripped somewhere in the darkness. I sat on an old camping chair and wrapped the blanket around myself. Then I cried. Not because I was cold, because I finally understood my place in my husband's life. And it wasn't beside him. It was beneath his mother. At 2 a.m, I heard the garage door open. Emma stood there holding a pillow. "Dad's asleep," she whispered. I wiped my eyes quickly. "What are you doing awake?" She handed me the pillow. "You shouldn't be out here." My throat tightened. "Sweetheart." She hugged me before I could finish. I heard everything. The words shattered me. Children should never hear things like that. She pulled away and looked directly at me. "Grandma is mean." I forced a smile. "Go back inside." She nodded reluctantly. Before leaving, she said something that would stay with me forever. "Mom, you don't deserve this." Then she disappeared back into the house. I sat there until sunrise, thinking, remembering, questioning everything. How had we ended up here? Jason hadn't always been like this. When we met in Austin, Texas, he was kind, funny, protective. He used to leave notes in my purse, bring me coffee before work, hold my hand every chance he got. For years, we were happy. Or, at least I thought we were. The change started after his father died. Diane moved in shortly afterward. At first, I welcomed her. She was grieving. She needed family. I wanted to help. Big mistake. Within weeks, she started criticizing everything. The way I cooked, the way I cleaned, the way I raised the children, the way I dressed. Nothing was ever good enough. And somehow Jason never noticed. Or maybe he refused to. Every complaint ended the same way. "That's just how Mom is." The phrase became a shield, an excuse, a permission slip for cruelty. By morning, I knew something had to change. I couldn't continue living like this. When Jason came into the kitchen before work, I was already awake, packing lunches, making breakfast, pretending everything was normal. He looked uncomfortable.
"Good."
About last night, I didn't look up. "What about it?" His shoulders relaxed slightly. "I think things got out of hand." Out of hand. Interesting choice of words. Not wrong. Not cruel. Not humiliating. Just out of hand. I closed the lunchbox. "You made your wife sleep in the garage." He sighed heavily. "Mom was upset." I laughed. A bitter laugh. The kind that surprises even you. "Do you hear yourself?" His expression hardened immediately. There it was. The defensiveness. The refusal to accept responsibility. "I don't want another fight." "Neither do I." Then he left. No apology. No accountability. Nothing. That evening, I called my older sister Rachel. She lived in Dallas. After listening quietly, she asked one question. Why are you still there? I didn't have an answer. Because love? Because history? Because children? Because fear? I honestly didn't know anymore. Days turned into weeks. Nothing changed. If anything, Diane became worse. She walked through my bedroom without knocking, criticized meals in front of the kids, made passive-aggressive comments about my appearance, and Jason kept defending her. One Saturday afternoon, I overheard a conversation I wasn't supposed to hear. Diane and Jason were sitting on the patio. The window was slightly open. She'll leave eventually, Diane said. My stomach tightened. What do you mean? Jason asked. Women like Emily always leave. There was a pause. Then she laughed. When she does, you'll realize how much easier life is. I couldn't breathe. For several seconds, I simply stood there frozen, waiting for Jason to defend me, waiting for him to say she was wrong. Instead, he said nothing. Not one word. The silence hurt more than any insult. That night, I made a decision. A quiet decision. The most important decision of my life. I started saving money. Small amounts at first. Nothing dramatic. Nothing illegal. Just enough to create options. Because for the first time, I realized something terrifying. If my marriage collapsed tomorrow, I had nowhere to go. No plan. No safety net. And I never wanted to feel trapped again. Over the next few weeks, strange things started happening. Bills disappeared. Bank statements went missing. Jason became unusually secretive about finances. Whenever I asked questions, he changed the subject. Then one evening I found something unexpected. A folder hidden inside his home office drawer. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for printer paper. But the folder caught my attention. Across the front, in black marker, were 4 words. Private, do not touch. My heart started racing. Slowly, I opened it. Inside were financial documents, property records, loan applications, and something else. Something that made my blood run cold. My name appeared on several pages. Documents I had never seen before. Documents I had never signed. Yet somehow, my signature was on every single one. I stared at the papers, confused, terrified, certain there had to be some explanation. Then I heard footsteps coming down the hallway. Jason was coming. I quickly shoved everything back into the folder, closed the drawer, and stepped away. But one thought echoed through my mind, over and over. Why was my signature on documents I had never signed? And what exactly was my husband hiding? Jason's behavior changed after that night. Not immediately. Not enough for anyone else to notice. But enough for me. He started locking his office door, taking phone calls outside, keeping his phone face down whenever he entered a room. And every time I looked at him, all I could think about were those documents, those signatures, my signatures, or at least versions of them. I wanted to confront him. I really did, but something stopped me. Instinct. The same instinct that tells you not to step onto a frozen lake when you hear the ice cracking beneath your feet. Instead, I waited and watched. For the first time in years, I stopped trying to save my marriage. I started trying to understand it. A week later, I found another clue. It happened by accident. Jason had left for work early. Diane was at her weekly church group. The kids were in school. I was cleaning the kitchen when Jason's tablet lit up on the counter. A calendar notification appeared on the screen. Meeting with Attorney Brooks. 11 a.m. Attorney. My stomach tightened. Jason had never mentioned a lawyer. Curious, I picked up the tablet. The notification disappeared, but not before I noticed the office address. I wrote it down, then spent the entire day wondering whether I was becoming paranoid. Maybe it was business-related. Maybe I was imagining problems that didn't exist. Maybe. No. My gut told me otherwise. That evening I called Rachel. I think Jason is hiding something. Rachel was silent for a moment. How bad? I found documents. What kind? I don't know. Do you trust him? The answer came instantly.
No.
The silence that followed felt heavy, because once you admit that out loud, everything changes. Over the next month, things became worse inside the house. Diane grew increasingly bold. One evening, she criticized my cooking in front of the children. Again, "This chicken is dry." Emma rolled her eyes. I noticed.
So did Diane.
"Something funny?" Diane asked sharply. Emma looked down.
No.
You rolled your eyes. Jason looked up from his plate. Emma. My daughter sat quietly. I could see tears forming. That was enough. "She's a child," I said. Diane scoffed. "And children need discipline." I set my fork down.
No.
Children need kindness. The table fell silent. Jason immediately sided with his mother. "Emily, don't start." I stared at him. My own daughter was fighting tears. And that was his response. "Don't start." That night, Emma came into my room. "Mom?" "Yes, sweetheart." She hesitated. "Do you think Dad loves Grandma more than us?" The question hit me harder than anything Diane had ever said. I pulled her into my arms. "Your father loves you, but does he choose us?" I couldn't answer, because children notice everything, even the truths adults try to hide. A few days later, another strange discovery appeared. This time it involved money. I was balancing household expenses when I noticed several transfers from our joint account. Large transfers. Thousands of dollars. Moving into an unfamiliar account. I stared at the statements. Confused. Concerned. Terrified. When Jason came home, I confronted him. "What's this account?" His face changed instantly. "What account?" I handed him the statement. "The one receiving our money." He barely glanced at it. "Investment account." "Since when?" "A while." "Why didn't you tell me?" His expression darkened. "Do I need permission to invest?" There it was again. Deflection. Anger. Avoidance.
No.
"But I think I deserve honesty." Jason stood. "I'm tired." Then he walked away. Conversation over.
Just like that.
I sat alone at the kitchen table for nearly an hour, staring at the numbers, feeling something growing inside me. Not sadness, not fear, determination. The following week brought the first major crack in Diane's perfect image. One afternoon, a woman knocked on our front door. She looked to be in her late 60s, nervous, agitated, holding several folders. "Is Diane Parker here?" I nodded cautiously. "May I ask who's asking?" The woman hesitated. "My name is Sharon." Diane suddenly appeared behind me. The moment she saw the woman, all color drained from her face. "Diane," Sharon said coldly. For several seconds, neither woman spoke. Then Diane grabbed my arm. "Go inside." I blinked. "What?"
Now.
But Sharon interrupted.
No.
"She deserves to hear this." Diane's eyes widened. "Leave." Sharon ignored her. Instead, she looked directly at me. "Be careful." My pulse quickened. "What do you mean?" Diane practically shoved Sharon toward the door. "Get out." The woman left. But before stepping off the porch, she turned back and said something that haunted me for days. She did it before. Then she walked away. I stood frozen. What had Diane done before? Who was Sharon? And why had Diane looked terrified? That night I searched through public records online. Hours passed. Most searches led nowhere. Until I found an old article. A local newspaper piece from nearly 15 years earlier. The article mentioned Diane. A lawsuit. Property disputes. Financial disagreements involving family members. Nothing criminal, but enough to make me uneasy. There was a pattern. A trail. One that suddenly felt familiar. 2 weeks later, everything exploded. I came home from grocery shopping and found Jason and Diane sitting at the dining table, waiting. My stomach dropped immediately. People don't sit like that unless something is wrong. "What's going on?" I asked. Jason folded his hands. "We need to talk." The phrase every wife fears. I sat slowly. Diane looked strangely pleased. Jason cleared his throat. "The business isn't doing well." I frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means we need to make some sacrifices." My pulse quickened. What kind of sacrifices? Then he said something I never expected. We may need to sell the house. For a second, I genuinely thought he was joking. What? The market is good. I stared at him. This is our home. It's just a house. Diane nodded dramatically. Exactly. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Because months earlier Jason claimed the business was thriving. Now suddenly we were discussing selling our home? None of it made sense. Show me the numbers. Jason looked away. That was all the answer I needed. There were no numbers. At least none he wanted me to see. That evening I called Rachel again. After listening carefully, she said something unexpected. You need a lawyer. I laughed nervously. A lawyer? For what? For whatever is coming. The words sent chills down my spine. Because deep down,
I knew she was right.
I just didn't know how right. The next morning, while Jason was in the shower, his phone buzzed repeatedly on the bathroom counter. I wasn't trying to snoop. I truly wasn't. But then I saw a preview message appear on the screen. From Attorney Brooks. Only one sentence. One sentence that changed everything. She still doesn't know about the property transfer. My entire body went cold. Property transfer? What property transfer? And why was a lawyer discussing it behind my back? As I stared at the message, one terrifying realization settled over me. The forged signatures, the secret account, the hidden documents, the lawyer, the missing money. So, it was all connected. And whatever Jason and Diane were planning, it was much bigger than I had imagined. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that message. She still doesn't know about the property transfer. The words played over and over in my mind. By sunrise, I knew one thing for certain. Jason and Diane were hiding something huge. And if I wanted answers, I would have to find them myself. The following morning, after dropping the kids off at school, I drove to the county records office. I felt ridiculous, like some amateur detective chasing a conspiracy. But my instincts refused to let it go. The woman at the records desk smiled politely. Can I help you? Yes. I swallowed hard. I need information about property ownership. She explained the process and pointed me toward a public records terminal. My hands trembled as I typed our address. The screen loaded, and then my entire world shifted. The house was no longer listed under Jason and me. My name was gone. Completely gone. I stared at the screen, blinking repeatedly, certain I had made a mistake. But there it was. The ownership records showed a recent transfer. The new owner, Diane Parker, my mother-in-law. I felt physically sick. For several seconds, I couldn't breathe. The house I had helped pay for. The house where I raised my children. The house I had spent 11 years maintaining. It had somehow been transferred into Diane's name. Without my knowledge. Without my permission. Without my signature. Or so I thought. Then I opened the supporting documents. My heart nearly stopped. There it was. My signature. Again.
Perfectly placed. Perfectly forged.
I walked back to my car in a daze. The parking lot seemed strangely quiet. The sky looked gray. Everything felt unreal. I immediately called Rachel. She answered on the second ring. What happened? They transferred the house. Silence. What? They transferred it to Diane. Rachel's voice dropped. Emily, get a lawyer. I'm serious. So am I. For the first time, I heard fear in her voice. 2 days later, I met attorney Melissa Grant, a sharp woman in her 40s with kind eyes and zero patience for nonsense. After reviewing the documents, she leaned back in her chair. Did you sign any of these papers?
No.
Ever? No. She nodded slowly. Then we may have a serious problem. My stomach dropped. What kind of problem? Forgery. The word hung in the room. Heavy. Dangerous.
Real.
Melissa studied several pages carefully, then pointed to one signature. Look here. I leaned forward. This doesn't even match your driver's license signature. I stared at it. She was right. The signature looked close, but not identical. Someone had copied it.
Badly.
A cold chill ran down my spine. Jason did this. Melissa remained calm. We don't know that yet. But deep down, I did. That evening I confronted him. The children were at a friend's house. Diane was upstairs. For once, we were alone. I placed the property records on the kitchen table. Jason's face turned white immediately. The reaction told me everything. What is this? He said nothing. Jason.
Still nothing.
My voice rose. How is Diane's name on my house? Our house. He looked away. I slammed my hand on the table.
No.
The word echoed through the room. Not anymore. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then he finally whispered, You weren't supposed to find out yet. The sentence hit harder than a slap.
Yet.
Not denial. Not confusion.
Yet.
Meaning it was true. Meaning he knew. Meaning he had planned to tell me later. Or maybe never. I felt tears burning behind my eyes. How could you do this? He rubbed his face. The business needed protection. There it is. What? The excuse. Jason stood suddenly. You don't understand. Then explain. His expression hardened. The company has debt. So you stole my home? It wasn't like that. I laughed bitterly. It was exactly like that. Before he could answer, Diane entered the kitchen. She immediately sensed tension. What happened? I turned toward her. You know exactly what happened. For the first time since I'd met her, she looked nervous. Not angry. Not smug. Nervous. Interesting. I held up the property documents.
Her face changed.
Tiny. Almost invisible. But I saw it.
Fear.
Real fear. Then something unexpected happened. Diane snapped. Fine. Jason stared. Mom.
No. She pointed at me.
She wants the truth? Her voice trembled. Let's tell her the truth. The room fell silent. My pulse pounded. Jason looked horrified. Mom, stop. But Diane ignored him. And then she revealed something none of us expected. The business wasn't failing. It never had been. Jason had lied. For months. The secret accounts. The hidden transfers. The missing money. None of it was for debt. My husband had been secretly investing money into a luxury real estate project with several business partners. A project that was now collapsing. Millions were at risk. Investors were demanding answers. And Jason had used family assets to cover potential losses, including our house, including my legal ownership, without telling me, without consent, without permission. The room spun. I grabbed the edge of the counter, trying to stay upright. Jason looked furious. Mom, but Diane wasn't finished.
No. She pointed at him.
You did this. Then she turned toward me and delivered the biggest shock yet. The investors are already investigating. My heart stopped. What? Her voice cracked. Lawyers are involved. Jason looked like a man watching his life collapse. Because that's exactly what was happening. 3 days later, everything got worse. Melissa called me. Emily, sit down. Instant panic. What happened? The investors filed a civil complaint. My blood ran cold. Against Jason? Yes. I swallowed hard. And there was a pause. Then she said, and your forged signatures are part of the filing. I felt physically ill. The situation was bigger than family drama now. Much bigger. Lawyers. Fraud allegations. Financial investigations. Property transfers. Forged documents. Everything was unraveling. And for the first time, Jason looked terrified. Because the truth was no longer hiding inside our house. The truth was now in the hands of people whose job was to uncover it. And once they started digging, there was no telling what else they might find. The first police officer arrived on a rainy Thursday morning. I remember because I was standing in the kitchen making coffee when the doorbell rang. Jason had barely slept the night before. Neither had I. The investigation was growing by the hour. Investors were demanding records. Lawyers were requesting documents. Melissa had warned me that things could move quickly. I just hadn't expected this quickly. The second Jason opened the front door, 2 detectives and a uniformed officer stood on the porch. My husband immediately froze. Jason Parker? One detective asked. Yes. We need to speak with you. The color drained from his face. Diane appeared from the hallway. "What is going on?" Neither officer answered her. Instead, they handed Jason several documents. I watched his hands shake as he read them. For the first time in years, the confident man I married disappeared. Standing in front of me was someone terrified, someone cornered, someone finally facing consequences. The officers entered the house. Questions began immediately. Financial records, property transfers, investment accounts, business partners, forged signatures. The list seemed endless. I sat quietly in the living room, not saying a word, not because I was afraid, because there was nothing left to say. Months earlier, I would have defended him. Years earlier, I would have fought for him.
But now?
Now I was simply watching the truth arrive. Over the following weeks, the investigation exploded. What started as an investor complaint uncovered something far bigger. Jason's real estate project had hidden losses. Financial statements had been manipulated. Assets had been moved without proper authorization. Several partners claimed they had been misled. Then investigators discovered the forged documents connected to our home. That changed everything. Because financial mistakes can sometimes be explained. Forgery cannot. Melissa handled every legal step carefully. "You're a victim here," she reminded me repeatedly. For the first time in months, someone was actually protecting me.
Not using me. Not blaming me. Protecting me.
It felt strange. And wonderful. Jason tried contacting me constantly.
Calls.
Texts. Emails. Voicemails. Most went unanswered. One evening, I finally listened to one. "Emily, please call me." His voice sounded exhausted. Broken. "I never wanted this." I laughed bitterly. Not because it was funny, because I had heard that phrase too many times. He never wanted this. He never wanted the garage. He never wanted the lies. He never wanted the forged signatures. Yet somehow every road led back to his choices. I deleted the message. A month later, the divorce proceedings officially began. Jason didn't fight. That surprised everyone, including Melissa. "He knows he's losing," she explained. She was right. The evidence was overwhelming. Bank records, property documents, emails, witness statements. Everything pointed in the same direction. Truth has a strange power. Once enough pieces come together, the whole picture becomes impossible to hide. Then came the final twist, the one nobody expected, not even Diane. During the investigation, authorities discovered several old financial records connected to her. Records dating back years. Property disputes. Questionable transfers. Family inheritance issues. Patterns that looked remarkably familiar. Apparently Sharon, the woman who had appeared at my door months earlier, hadn't been lying. Diane had done something similar before. Not criminally. Not to this extent. But enough to establish a pattern of manipulation. Family assets. Control. Pressure. Influence. For decades, she had quietly controlled people around her, including her son, especially her son. The realization hit me hard. Jason wasn't innocent. Far from it. He made his own choices. But for years, he had been trapped inside a relationship where pleasing his mother mattered more than protecting his family. And eventually, that weakness destroyed everything. The biggest confrontation happened 3 months later. Ironically, exactly 3 months after the night he sent me to sleep in the garage. Melissa arranged a final settlement meeting. Jason requested to speak privately. I almost refused, but curiosity won. We met in a conference room overlooking downtown Austin. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. The silence felt heavier than any argument. Finally, he looked at me. "I miss you." I felt nothing. That shocked me. Not anger. Not sadness. Nothing. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And I had finally arrived there. Jason's eyes filled with regret. I ruined everything. I nodded. Yes. No screaming. No revenge speech. Just truth. Simple truth. He looked down. "I should have protected you." Another nod. "You should have." His voice cracked. "The garage." For the first time, genuine shame crossed his face. I think about it every day. Good. Because I had thought about it every day too. Not because of the garage itself. Because of what it represented. Disrespect. Humiliation. Abandonment. The moment I realized I was alone in my own marriage. Jason wiped his eyes. I was wrong. The apology came too late. Years too late. But at least it was honest. The divorce finalized 6 weeks later. The court restored my financial rights, protected my interests, and officially recognized the fraudulent property transfer. The house was eventually sold through proper legal channels. My portion helped me buy a smaller home nearby. Nothing fancy. Nothing enormous. Just mine. Completely mine. For the first time in years, I felt safe. Emma and Caleb adjusted surprisingly well. Children are resilient when they finally live in peace. The tension disappeared from their faces. The constant anxiety vanished. Laughter returned to our home. Real laughter. Not the forced kind. One evening, Emma sat beside me on the porch. The Texas sunset painted the sky orange and gold. Mom, yeah. She smiled. You seem happier. I looked toward the horizon, then toward my daughter, and realized she was right. Not because life was perfect, because it was honest. I am happier. She leaned her head against my shoulder. Good. That single word meant more than she realized. As for Diane, she ended up living alone. Many family members distanced themselves after the investigation, not because of one mistake, because years of manipulation had finally become visible. People stopped making excuses, stopped ignoring reality, stopped protecting bad behavior. And once that happened, her influence disappeared. A year later, I received one final letter. From Jason. Inside was a short handwritten note. No excuses. No requests. No attempts to reconcile. Just one sentence. You deserved a husband who chose you first. I folded the letter carefully, then placed it in a drawer. Not because I wanted to keep the memory alive, but because some lessons deserve to be remembered. That night, I sat on my back porch watching the stars appear above my new home. Emma was inside finishing homework. Caleb was laughing at something on television. The house felt peaceful, safe, whole. And for the first time in a very long time, I realized something important. Justice isn't always about revenge. Sometimes justice is simply finding the strength to walk away from people who never valued you. Jason chose his mother. He chose lies. He chose betrayal. And when the truth finally arrived at his door, it took everything he had spent years taking for granted. He chose to lose me. In the end, he lost everything. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Justice After Tears. Tell us in the comments, what would you have done in her place? Your support helps us bring more emotional stories of justice, karma, and new beginnings. See you in the next story.